Hey guys, this is Joy back again with another video, and I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means the world. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Also, be sure that you guys are following me on Live Narc Free on Instagram, and you guys know that I am offering my coaching sessions. So if you want to book a session, email me at livenarcfree9@gmail.com. And as I mentioned in the other video yesterday, feel free to leave a donation if you're feeling generous. I'll leave my PayPal link below. So if this is you guys' first time watching my channel, it's called Joy Larkin, and that is my name as well. And this channel is all about inspiring and motivating you guys to live your best life, to really just step outside of that box, to try something different in your life, not be so programmed by society's standards and their rules and things like that. So that's what this channel is all about. And again, I am a coach for narcissistic abuse. I have been abused by my aunt for off and on for 5 years. I dated two guys that were narcissists, so I have experience with that. So yeah. And the name of this video, I wanted to talk about emotional abuse. I know you guys hear that word a lot, but some people don't really understand what it is. I just wanted to read the definition for you guys, for those of you that are new to the whole like narcissistic abuse and different types of abuse. There's verbal abuse, there's physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. So I wanted to talk more about the emotional abuse. So I have a definition here. I got it from Narc Knowledge on Instagram. If you guys wanted to know where I'm getting the information from, you can follow them as well as me as well. So emotional abuse is, it says, it includes the failure of a caregiver to provide an appropriate and supportive environment, and includes acts that have the adverse effect on the emotional health and development of a child. Such acts include restrictions of a child's movements, de-integration, ridicule, threats, and intimidation, discrimination, rejection, other non-physical forms of hostile treatment. So I just wanted to read that for those of you that may have not known, but I mean may have heard the term but didn't know exactly what it was. And I find myself being very emotional, well, not emotional, but it's a touchy subject just because I've experienced emotional abuse basically like my whole life, pretty much growing up in a household where my parents, they got divorced when I was young. So I would always have to kind of like go back and forth to like my mom and my dad. And my dad basically raised me and my brother. So it was just a lot going on. And at the time, my dad, he didn't really understand like how the ways that he treated me and my brother would affect us. Because I remember there'd be times, and I think I told you guys this in another video, that when I was younger, he would yell and scream at me if he saw me writing with my left hand, because I write with both hands now. I forgot what's the term, but yeah, like he would yell and scream at me when he saw me writing with my left hand. He would make me stay at the table for a long time until I finished my food. And I get that he was doing this because he probably felt like that would help me. But in the end, I mean, I personally don't think that it made a difference, but maybe that's just what he was thinking. And yeah, and he would kind of like pick at me. He'd say like, "Oh, don't hold your stomach in," or something like that, you know, because we was literally eating out every day. Like he never really cooked like that because he was working all the time. So I remember one time I was at my grandma's house and he said, "Joy, you don't have to hold your stomach in," or something like that. And he was making like a joke. He was asking me at a different time. He was like, "Oh, how much do you weigh?" He was like, "You're overweight," and this and this and that. And I remember like that didn't make me feel good. And I know that he probably was saying it, and he wasn't trying to be like I don't know what was going on, but I know like he wasn't trying to be harmful. Like I know that he loved me the best of the way that he could, the only way that he knew how. But him saying those things didn't have an effect on me, because I'm thinking like, he's taking care of me and he's talking to me like this, in that way, you know what I mean? So what should I be expecting from other people, you know what I mean? So we just have to be mindful of us victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse when we do have children, or if you have children now, just be kind of mindful of how you're talking to your children or your family or your friends, or if you know somebody that may say little things like that, or you feel like they may be emotionally abusive, get away from them. I don't care who it is. If it's family, friends, coworkers, boss, whatever, you gotta like remove yourself from that situation because it's gonna affect you. And then, as I mentioned, so I was born and raised in Delaware, and then at the time, because my brother got murdered, unfortunately, and that was painful, very, very painful. That's a very touchy subject for me. And I ended up moving to Los Angeles with my aunt, and in my mind, I was like, oh my God, like I'm moving to LA. Like, who doesn't want to be in California? You know, I had never been there. And so when I finally got there, everything was good. You know, I was like kind of learning my way around, but I didn't notice that my aunt, she was a narcissist. I didn't realize that until, I want to say, it was probably like maybe the second year that I was living with her. I kind of noticed the changes. I noticed that she was a little bit more picky with me. She was more critical. She was trying to control she was trying to control what I was going to do with my life. She was controlling like who I would hang out with. If she asked me to do a chore in the house, she would look at it and be like, oh, it doesn't look like it was done, or, you know, just make a judgment about it, that you know, like almost like a bully. And then I remember a couple times she invited me to hang out with her friends, and then like my aunt, they're like all a little bit older, but I was like the only young one. And I just remember how like weird it felt, because I felt like they was kind of like ganging up on me because I was the youngest, and I don't know, it was just strange. And I'll make a video about the more things that happened when I was living with my aunt. Because honestly, because the abuse that I experienced when I was younger, that was bad in itself. But as I became a young adult, and I was living with my aunt, and I was like trying to figure out things and see like how things would work. And I think the abuse that I experienced from my aunt set the standard for me to take abuse, for me to be okay with it, for me to not question like what's happening, and just to not feel how I'm feeling, you know. Because I remember one time when I was feeling really like I didn't want to live with her anymore, and I remember I said, you know, I think I'm ready to move out. I'm done. And then she was like, you shouldn't feel that way. Don't feel that. You know, she was basically telling me to deny my feelings. And that's what narcissists do, because they want to keep you where you're at. They want to control you, you know, manipulate you. So that's emotional abuse, you guys. I hope this video wasn't a downer, but you know, I really just like to be honest and transparent with you guys and let you know, like, you know, I've experienced this stuff with you. I'm not just on here making these videos just for the likes and the comments. Like, this is a real life situation. And it's definitely affected me for the rest of my life. I remember, well, because of the traumatic experience of my brother being murdered at 20, and then like, oh, and that's what because actually, you guys, I have a confession. So I was trying to make a video last night, and out of nowhere, I heard this like really loud noise outside, and it was still recording, but I was like, you know what, I'm just not going to do that. So I just deleted the video. But what happened was, when my brother, he got murdered, it's a very touchy subject for me. It was very, I mean, I know that we're all going to die, but just him going so young was just such a shock. Like, I could not believe that was happening. But my mom took it differently than I think than anybody. And it's understandable, because that was her son. He was my brother. But I remember specifically at the funeral, she did not cry. She did not cry at the funeral. Everybody else, my dad cried. That was actually scary, seeing my dad cry. Like, just seeing that pain in him was just scary. And then everybody else, you look around in the church, everybody was crying. But she didn't shed a tear. at the funeral. And I think she was probably like in denial about it. And I don't know if I told you guys this story, but I actually think my mom feels kind of guilty because, to be honest with you guys, I think she feels responsible for his death, because at the time, like, he was 20 when he got murdered, but he was like, going through like the growing pains of a teenager, trying to figure out things, and he was like hanging out with the wrong people, unfortunately. And I remember my dad, he was like going back and forth to Rockford, Illinois, which is like nearby Chicago, because he was going to start living there, which that's where he is at now. But he had my brother go out there to Rockford, Illinois, because he was trying to get him away from like all of like what was going on out there. And I remember when my brother had went out there, because I was still in Delaware at the time, I had talked to him like, oh hey, like how are you? And he was just saying like how he missed it or whatever. And I remember I think that my mom sent my brother money out there without my dad knowing, for my brother to come back to Delaware, because she was like, oh, I want you here with me. And she was actually telling me that too, like when I moved to California. She was like, oh, like I want you here in California, like I don't want you to be out there, I want you to be by me. And which I think my mom is actually a narcissist. I really think that. So yeah, that's interesting. And I'll make a video about that later on. But because I just remember like after the fact that my brother died, and I would try to talk to her about certain things, like different emotions, like she would either dismiss it, she wouldn't have any feelings or any emotional attachment to it, or she couldn't really, like, she was listening but she wasn't there emotionally. So that's how I knew growing up she wasn't there with me and wasn't able to love me the way that I needed for her to, which is fine because I have forgiven her and I accept it. And I accept now that I have to be my own mom, my own dad, my own best friend, etc. But yeah, so I think the fact that she sent him the train ticket, he took the train back to Delaware, and unfortunately when he got back to Delaware, it was like a month later, and then he got murdered. And so I think she actually feels responsible for it, which is the reason why now because she is not really doing that well right now. And I feel really, really bad, especially like when I go back to Delaware and I visit, she's just not in, like, people say that they see her around different places, but she's never been the same. I don't think she's ever going to be the same ever again. My dad actually took it a lot better, but he's still, going through it. But, thank you guys for watching this video. I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about emotional abuse, and if you think you're experiencing that, trust me, get out, talk to someone about it, someone that you trust, and someone that's understanding, because especially like with the topics of narcissists or dealing with emotional abuse by a narcissist, mental, verbally, anything, you want to talk to someone that's not going to judge you, someone that's not going to make you feel bad, someone that's not going to that's not gonna validate how you're feeling, because you have the right to feel the way you feel, So thank you guys for watching. Please be sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a comment. If you want to book a coaching session, email me at livenarc9@gmail.com. And if you are feeling generous, you can leave me a donation for my channel to keep supporting me, keep me going, help me to keep making videos and different things like that. I'll leave the PayPal link for the donation if you want to leave one below. And make sure you follow me on Instagram, livenarc3, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.